Hello everyone, Nicole Abisinio here. Today I'm talking about soul ties. Now, soul ties are something that people don't know about or they've heard about, but they don't really know what they are. In the Bible, in the Old Testament, when David and Jonathan meet, they were best friends. It says in the Bible that their souls were knit together. Now, this was what we call a healthy soul tie. They became friends in a very holy, wonderful way. Now, what happens is that you can also create unhealthy soul ties. An unhealthy soul tie is if, say, for example, you meet and have a friend, and your friend is cheating on his wife, and you are the cover. Then you entered into an unhealthy soul tie, a spirit of lies and a spirit of adultery, because you are aiding and abetting in that sin. You are joining in that sin with the other person in some way. So what I use it the most for, and what people I find need it the most for, but it's also the type of work that I do, is I minister and help a lot of people who are trying to break out of sexual sin. This can be sin with an ex or a girlfriend, a boyfriend. It can also, however, be pornography, where you're just connecting to somebody on the computer or even in photos. These are all soul ties, unhealthy soul ties that need to be broken. The way that I also like to describe a soul tie is like imagine spiritually, a metal cord between you and this person that you sinned with in whatever way that you created this tie. But let's just focus on the sexual, because that is a huge epidemic. So of course, I'm talking about soul ties, which is the most important thing. So of course, my disc was full and it cut me off, so I could not keep speaking about this most important. I cannot stress how important this is, which is why the information doesn't get out. I've been censored on this multiple times when I've tried to talk about it, even though all these people are getting healed over time, and the proof is in the pudding, as we say. But still, I'm getting censored. People think it's controversial, or they don't want to talk about it. But that's because it is so powerful against the enemy. It is incredible. It is literally like finding this gold nugget the information is there, you just need it and to implement it in your life. It's incredible. And of course, I recommend having always a spiritual director, in case you need that help, or if it's a larger, more powerful case of the enemy against you. Please have a relationship with a priest that you can go to if you need help. You can also watch videos from Father Rippinger on spiritual warfare, which are amazing. He's on the traditional side. I recommend him on the traditional side. He has a whole ministry for people who need help with demonic bondages. But I also highly recommend Neil Lozano on the charismatic side. Love them both. Neil Lozano, Unbound, their ministry, which is based in Pittsburgh, also worldwide. So I just want to make sure that you guys are getting the information, but then you also have places that you can go specifically if you need help. And I'm happy to answer any of your questions as well if you post them below. Back to soul ties. This metal cord, as you're connecting to a person that weighs 100 or 200 pounds here, 100, 200 pounds here, you are feeling at this point, if you have soul ties, you are feeling so heavy, like you have the weight of the world on you. This is why you feel like you have the weight of the world on you, and you literally need to get it off. You need to cut that cord, because they're drowning, and then you're attached to them by this spiritual metal cord. Now you can say, I went away from that person, or I don't use that porn site anymore, or you can disconnect from that person in the physical realm, but you still have to disconnect from them spiritually. We are physical and we are spiritual beings. Those two both have to happen. You cannot. That is why people will come to me. I had a man come to me who was about to get married. He had an ex. It was actually an ex from a long time ago, but as he was going to this marriage, all he could think about was this ex. All he could think about was her. constantly, and he didn't understand why he was thinking about her, and he didn't want to be with her. It wasn't about that. He was literally obsessively thinking of this woman. I'm trying to remember, this was probably 5 years ago, so I'm trying to remember if he was thinking of her sexually or if it was just in general. But the point is that he had an unholy soul tie with her because he had had sex with her in the past in an unholy way. And when I say unholy, I mean they were not married. So he never broke that. So I asked him when I said this, I said, did you break this soul tie? And he said, I don't even know what that is. And so I explained it to him. I said, look it up for yourself, pray on it, ask the Lord if he wants you to do this. Well, sure enough, he looked it up, went through the process, broke the soul ties, never thought about her again. It was broken in the spiritual realm. He's been married now for 5 years, extremely happy with his wife. They waited to kiss until they got to the altar. I mean, they have an incredible, wonderful marriage. But I don't know what would have happened had he not broken that soul tie. I don't know how that would have entered into his marriage. You don't want to bring that baggage with you. And again, that baggage isn't just physical. It's not just emotional. It is spiritual connection. So I ask you to write a list of anybody that you sinned with, that you created this spiritual unhealthy soul tie with. So you can write down a list, name anybody that you had sexual relationships with. Right now, like I said, we're just dealing with sexual relationships. If you help somebody lie, if you help somebody steal, you can do the same thing. The same principles apply. But you need to write down everybody's name so that you can pray with the Lord and ask him to break that tie. There are also specific prayers that you can look up that you can use those prayers. I use very specific prayers in breaking ties, and I'm happy to send a link to that prayer. I can post it, or I'll even send in a video. I'll actually do the words if that will help you guys. So those need to break, but this is what's important to mention. It's not always just a person that you connected to in an unholy sexual way in person. It could have been somebody that you connected with on the computer, that you had sex with over the computer, that you had texting with, sexting. It could be sexting. It could be you got naked pictures of that person. I had a very major case at Christmas time. This man was literally put into a mental institution. He was not crazy. I knew immediately as soon as I saw him that he was under bondage. And he did not tell me. I told him, I said, because I prayed, the Holy Spirit gave me the information. I said, you have photos, you have sinned, you have sexual photos of a woman. You need to delete the photos. You need to break these soul ties. You need to break this relationship. You need to confess these sins. That's another thing too. Don't think that if you break a soul tie that got you out of confession. And confession is an amazing, very important sacrament. You have to ask for the Lord's forgiveness. Please, I go to the sacrament of confession every 2 weeks. Highly recommend it. It's a wonderful, wonderful process. I love it. I'm just there with Jesus. And it's amazing. I couldn't, there's so many graces that come from it. But even when you are forgiven, sin, as we all know, and as the Catholic Church teaches, has consequences. There are costs. Now, you are forgiven and have the ability after your confession to still go to heaven, to still be with Jesus, to be reunited with him, to put back into a state of grace. But these ties are going to weigh you down, and on top of that, the most important part is that they are leaving an open door in your spirit. You do not want this because you're trying to stop sexually sinning, and if you cannot, this is very likely why you cannot stop sexually sinning, because you have all of these, think of doors in, like, instead of the house of your soul. Think that you have these open doors, and sexual sin, these evil spirits are bees. Think of a beehive that's outside, right? But if you have these doors open, you have not closed these doors both in confession and in breaking these spiritual cords, okay, then your door is cracked open, or maybe it's wide open, and all those bees can come in and sting you. And no matter how hard you try to keep out those bees, they're still going to be able to come in until you close that door, lock it, seal it with the blood of Christ. This is going to help you do this. So I will almost positively, I'm positive that I will do a probably part 2, probably part 3. Once you post your questions below, I'll have a better idea of how I can help you more. It's much easier when I'm working one-on-one with people because they can just directly ask me those questions and we can get where we need to for their healing. But I want to help more people with this. Please share this video. Please subscribe. And get on the mailing list, and I will continue to help you guys through this. I want to see you free. I am completely free of any sexual sin for many years, whereas before I could not stop. I couldn't have stopped. My free will wasn't even in it at that. Well, I'll talk more about that in the future. But if you're one of those people where your free will is not in it and you're still being forced to do it and you cannot stop, then you are the person for this. Hope this video helps you. Hope I'm getting you the knowledge and information that you guys need. Please feel free to research it on your own, but again, the proof is in the pudding. When you do it, it works. You will feel an unbelievable healing and difference. So I look forward to hearing all of your success stories and talking more. Thanks. God bless you guys.